Giving me an up-close and personal view. Hello everyone and welcome to the JoAnne Powell Show. I am JoAnne. We are coming to you from the World Center of Broadcast Media, WCOBM Hollywood. We've got a lot of news to cover today, a lot of things that are going on. We're going to be taking a look at the new Republicans' health care plan. We're also going to be taking a look into the connection between the Trump administration and the Russians. And it is International Women's Day, a time for us to take a look at and to acknowledge the contributions of women into our society, locally as well as globally. So there's got a lot of stuff to cover and things to take a look at today. The first thing we're going to start looking at is going to be the new Republican unveiled health care plan. It is something that has the backing of President Trump. He is throwing his support to this plan that is geared to repeal and replace the Affordable Care Act. And one key component that people are concerned about is that millions could possibly lose their health insurance as a part of the proposed plan. And the other aspect of it is that many of those who are critical of this, and some Republicans are saying that basically this bill is dead on arrival because it doesn't have the support. Let's take a listen.
Republicans have been waiting for this very moment for years, the moment they could do away with Obamacare.
Tonight, I am also calling on this Congress to repeal and replace Obamacare.
We will help Americans crying out for relief from Obamacare.
Obamacare has failed, and Obamacare must go.
Here is a plan being unveiled by House Republicans to overhaul Obamacare. Their plan swaps out subsidies for tax credits to help Americans buy insurance. It does away with penalties over time for being uninsured. And gradually ends Medicaid expansion. This provides health care for 10 million Americans in 31 states. The Republican plan freezes the expansion starting in 3 years.
What we want to do is restore power to the states, put Medicaid on a budget.
The plan also cuts Planned Parenthood funding. The White House has proposed funding for the group if it stops its abortion services. What doesn't change, you can't be denied for pre-existing conditions, and young people can stay on their parents' plan until they're 26 years old.
Let me make clear a couple of things we're going to make sure. We're not pulling the rug out from under people.
There are some Republicans with concerns. 4 key Republican senators are not on board with the plan because it limits Medicaid funding and does not protect people in the expansion, while others say the expansion doesn't go far enough. GOP Senator Ron Paul tweets, "It sure looks like Obamacare light." The White House welcomes the plan, but isn't taking sides, saying it marks an important step toward restoring health care choices and affordability back to the American people.
I know the Republicans are trying to rush this bill through, but it probably will be taking some time to get an actual good program in place. The bill is basically hard-pressed to pass because the GOP does not have the backing that it needs to get this bill through both the House and the Senate, because it doesn't have full support within its own party, and it has absolutely no support when it comes to the Democratic Party. So we'll keep you posted on what happens on that, because I'm sure we'll be talking about what's going on with that health care plan for a while. Well, March 20th is the date that the House Intelligence Committee will be holding its first hearing on the Russians and their connection with the Trump administration. Democrats are calling for a special prosecutor, and this all comes after people have been calling for a probe taking a look at the connection between the Trump administration and Russia and the role the Russians played in our election. Let's take a listen.
Ruse.
It appears you received the same response whether you ask President Trump, his administration, or Russians about their connection. Both deny any improper ties between the two.
We are fighting the fake news.
Stop spreading lie and
Despite the
false news.
response, there are those who are skeptical all is proper between the Russians and the Trump White House, and here's why.
I would get along with Putin. I've dealt with Russia.
You think you'd get along with Putin?
I think I'd get along with him fine. I think he'd be absolutely fine.
Trump started talking favorably about Russian President Vladimir Putin during the campaign. Since then, the web of suspicion has widened. Paul Manafort, Trump's one-time campaign chairman, used to work for years with the pro-Russian president of Ukraine. Manafort is being scrutinized by investigators for his connections to the Russians known to the U.S. intelligence during the campaign. Trump's response?
He said that he has absolutely nothing to do and never has with Russia.
Carter Page lived in Moscow and did business with Russian energy firms. Trump said Page was on his foreign policy team, but not anymore.
Carter Page is an individual who the president-elect does not know and was put on notice months ago by the campaign.
Former National Security Advisor Michael Flynn resigned less than a month into the job once it was discovered he misled the administration about his talks with the Russians. We now know that Trump's son-in-law, Jared Kushner, attended a meeting with Flynn and the Russians just before the new year. And now it has been revealed our nation's top cop, Jeff Sessions, also had connections with the Russians. He could have been the one to decide whether or not anyone is charged for wrongdoing in connection to the Russian hacking of the presidential election.
Therefore, I have recused myself in the matters that deal with the Trump campaign.
And there is this, assertions by U.S. intelligence that Russian cyber attacks on Democratic Party computers were aimed at influencing the outcome of the presidential election. When you tie it all together, this is why suspicions keep growing, regardless of the White House's attempts to dismiss them.
Well, many are saying where there's smoke, there's fire. So now that they are actually going to be holding, the House Intelligence Committee will be holding its very first hearing on this whole issue with Russia on March 20th. We should be getting into some of the meat about what's going on in this particular topic, whether there's anything there or not. We're taking steps in the direction of finding out exactly what is happening or not happening, but it just looks like there might be something going on, and that's the key component as to why we need to have investigations taking a look at that particular issue. And it seems like whenever we're talking in the news about what's going on with Trump and Russia and the ties to his administration, we seem to get some kind of sidetracking tweets as to something else that kind of a fire in another location. And one of those tweets was from Trump and pertaining to President Obama. Basically, Trump is saying that President Obama had wiretapped him during the election. This is basically a claim that has no merit, it has no proof, but the president said it anyway. Obama and his people are basically saying this is not true. They're denying anything close to, or not even close to this going on, because basically this is illegal. He's accusing Obama of committing a felony if something like this was to happen. In the case of a president, the president does not have the authority to call for something like this to happen. That's usually something that happens from the intelligence community. But many are calling for Trump, if this is true, if something that he has some information, to show the proof for this claim. Take a listen.
For the part of the national security apparatus that I oversaw as DNI, there was no such wiretap activity mounted against the president-elect at the time, or as a candidate, or against his campaign. I can't speak for other Title III authorized entities in the government or a state or local entity.
Yeah, I was just going to say, if the FBI, for instance, had a FISA court order of some sort for a surveillance, would that be information you would know or not know?
Yes.
You would be told this?
I would know that.
If there was a FISA court order
Yes.
on something like this?
Something like this, absolutely.
And at this point, you can't confirm or deny whether that exists?
I can deny it.
I'm not sure what it is he is talking about. Perhaps the president has information that is not yet available to us or to the public. And if it's true, obviously we're going to find out very quickly, and if it isn't, then obviously he'll have to explain what he meant by it.
We'll be keeping an eye on this story as well. There's definitely a lot going on in Capitol Hill. But if you are concerned about the crackdown among immigration, and it has put your life or the lives of those that you know, turn things upside down, we're going to be talking with an immigration attorney when we come back, so you're going to want to stay tuned for that. You are watching the JoAnne Powell Show on the World Center of Broadcast Media, WCOBM Hollywood.
If you are an adult that began college and has not finished your college degree, let me put it to you straight. If your lifestyle and your standard of living is not becoming to you, then you should be coming to us, Oakwood University Elite Program. We are the fast, flexible adult degree completion program for the busy adult, like you.
Register today. Go to oakwoodleap.com or call 256-726-7098. It's time to leap.
For years, people have trusted McKay's Family Mortuary. We're part of your community and we'll take care of the details. We offer a variety of memorial services, including sea scattering and cremation. According to the Federal Trade Commission, the average funeral cost is over $9,000. We have complete funeral chapel service starting at only $31.25, casket included. Direct cremation starting at only $9.95. Visit one of our 5 locations and meet our caring and diverse staff. McKay Family Mortuary. Let us be the shoulder to lean on.
Thanks to Oakwood University and the LEAP program, I have now a college degree. So to the